Not any shit but the dick. I be working. I make moves in silence. Hoes might never like me, and I'm fine with it nasty. I'm a real nigga fantasy. I drop dead for a broke nigga head on me. Do say this rich bitch energy. Y'all little hoes just thinking that Hennessy. I messed up on my words a little bit, y'all. Hey, let me turn the air off. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Two Scrippers, One Motherfucking Pole. Y'all, it's been a day, and honestly, it's barely even 12. Let me listen. I was in here, I was cleaning up, and I was like, I've been up since ass crack. Not really. Like, my alarm goes off at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I just keep going back to sleep. I'm a snoozer. But one of these days, I'm legit. This nigga. I'm gonna punch this motherfucker in the face. You could post on the gram and react to my reels, but you can't text me back and watch. He better not call me. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I be like trying to get up at ass crack in the morning, and one day I will succeed. I'm a morning person, but I've really just been struggling the past couple of months. Excuse me, to get up like an early bird time. But anywho, so I got up. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do some cleaning. I'm gonna move things around. And I like ran out to the store, got some things, came back in, and I was on it. I took a little breakfast break, y'all. I made a breakfast sandwich. I went to the store, got me some egg, what them things called? English muffins. And I cooked a little egg. I made some bacon. I slapped jelly on that hoe. Slapped some white American cheese. Fun fact, the only cheese that's supposed to be yellow is cheddar. I found that out when I was a server, because I really wasn't a cheese girly. And then I tried white American cheese, and I've never really went back. Like, if I'm in the mood for cheese, I'll be fine if it's not white. But my preference is white American cheese. It's so good. So I slapped some cheese, some eggs, some bacon on that hoe, some grape jelly. Oh. And then I finally started watching Swarm, which is like, I'm only one episode in, and I'm like, what is happening? This show is awkward. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I really don't. Anyway, so I was sitting here, it was one of those moments where let me find something to watch while it take me 2 minutes to vacuum suck down my food. And then I got invested in the episode, and I was like, okay, today is not a binge day. It was actually my intention to clean up and then poll. But then, y'all, I'm sitting here. I'm like, what is that smell? And then for whatever reason, I decided to go out on a balcony. I don't even think I went out on a balcony to see what the smell was. I just went out on a balcony. And I just see this big cloud of smoke coming from my building. I was like, oh my God. So I panicked, and I grabbed my little fanny pack, which is now in my room. It had my two phones. I got two phones, one for the plug and one for the hose. And my wallet. And I was about to book it out this bitch. So I like made it out of my apartment and my keys. And I ran out of my apartment. I made it to the stairwell. And I know that you're just supposed to go and leave it. But a bitch was like, I need my motherfucking laptop. Everything else in this building, in this room, can burn the hell down, but I need my laptop. So I came back in here, and I grabbed my laptop and my charger, and I ran my ass back outside. And thankfully everybody was okay, because the fire was actually on my floor, like 2 doors down. Technically 2 doors down, but because it's like when you get off the elevator, there's like an apartment, then another apartment, then you go down the hallway, and then there's more apartments. So I'm like down the hallway, but the apartment that got on fire was the apartment right next to the elevator. And so I say technically because like the balconies are connected. So like it was their balcony that was on fire, then my immediate next door neighbor, and then my apartment, right? But yeah, I thought when I saw the cloud of smoke that it was like upstairs. And so I just like ran outside, then I saw whose it was, and then I was really nervous because I know the couple that live in that house, and they're an older couple, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God. So I just kept like looking to see if I could find them. I still saw their car, so I was like, I know they're here. Then it was literally the entire neighborhood was just fire trucks, fire trucks, fire trucks, and some cops. And then then somebody pulled out a gurney. I was like, oh my God, no, 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 no. Like this is not. But then eventually I saw them, and everybody's okay. Everything is okay. So we were probably, I can't check to see what time I called my mama, but I called my mama to tell her. And then I called my landlord. But I want to say we was probably definitely outside for at least 30 minutes, if not an hour. And then the fire truck slowly just started moving away. And then they never technically cleared us like to go back in. I was like, I asked the one dude, like, are we good? He was like, what floor you live on? So I told him what floor I lived on, and he was like, oh yeah, you good, even though the fire was on my floor. But listen, I'm not complaining. So I came inside, couldn't use the elevator, and the stairwell was just soaking wet. Cause then it was, y'all, it was crazy because, so it was like where I live, the furnace is outside. So I think what happened was the furnace caught on fire. That's my speculation, because it was like the fire was coming from where the furnace would be, and that's like where the wall is burnt now, and it had like water coming out the wall. It was crazy. And so it's also like, so when you go on my balcony, it's like the furnace, my furnace, and like my next door neighbor, their furnace is outside. So theoretically, we could just walk through each other's apartment, which is actually, that's very terrifying. I've always been terrified of that. And sometimes I get sleep paralysis, and that's when I be having the crazy dreams. Most recently, I had a dream, and I've had this dream in different variations all the time, where it's like some creepy man standing out on my balcony. And then that's when I can't, like, I'm like, and I can't get up. But the most recent time, it was really weird. So I was in my house, and it was like supposed to be like crack of dawn, like 4, 5 in the morning. Like the sun was getting ready to rise. So it don't rise at 4. It was like 5, 6 in the dream. And we were in like the living room doing like meditation, yoga shit. And I was sitting, and it was like a friend of my brother's, like a childhood friend, which was like even weirder. And we're sitting there talking, and my back is to him, but then I turn around and a nigga's right on me. And I was like, oh shit, like I didn't even realize you were right there. And he was like, oh my bad, are you uncomfortable? And I was like, I mean, you could have asked for my permission. I didn't give you consent to do that. Like, I didn't mind, but I would have been more comfortable had you asked. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then we like backed up, so I was getting ready to give him a conversation about the importance of consent. And then he started talking about like, oh, like I got a thing for you, like you so pretty, and why you single, or da da da, like. And then he was saying something about like, basically he suggested that I do something. I can't remember what it was, but it was like whatever it was like expensive, right? And that's why I was like, I mean, that's cute and all, but that's too much money. And then it was his way of saying, like, it was his way of asking me on a date. And I'm like, nigga, that's not how you ask somebody on a date. So while we're having this conversation about like, if that's what you were doing, you weren't doing it right. That's when he's like, oh shit, what's that? Mind you, in real life, because we're still in the dream here, in real life, I was knocked out on this very here couch. The balcony door is right there. But in my dream, we was over here in a living room by my pole. So while we're talking, he's like, oh shit, what's that? We look at the balcony door, and we see a figure walking on a balcony. So that's when I woke up. But like, I woke up, I was like this. Ooh, my finger, fuck. Okay. So I'm sitting here knocked out like, and y'all know it'd be hot in here. So I'm already hot and delirious. Okay. Ooh, this about to fall off. God damn it. I'm trying to show y'all fucking demonstrations and shit. So, okay, so like the balcony door right there, my front door is right in front of me, and I'm sitting here knocked out on the couch like this. I mean, my legs was hanging off, my arms was up, mouth wide open, just right. And he's like, it's somebody right there. So I wake up, and then I'm like, hello. I'm recording. Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? I said I'm recording. And thanks for asking if I'm okay, you jerk. Yes, I'm fine. Okay, I'll call you back. How do I hang up? Oh, okay. Intermission. So anyway, I knew he was gonna do that. Anyway, so I'm sitting here, I'm knocked out, and then I wake up and I'm like, because I just feel a presence right here, and I'm freaking out, and I'm just like, and I finally like twist my shoulders and jolt up, and it's nothing fucking there, y'all. Shit be happening to me like that all the time. Like that sleep paralysis ain't no joke. But how did I get there? Oh yeah, because I was talking about the way the balconies are connected. So I always have scary dreams like that because I'm always scared of that happening. So my next door neighbor, they had to, like, when I was downstairs watching, when the firefighters got here, they had like went in through the apartment that was on fire, but then they also busted through my neighbor's door and was like double whammying it from both sides. And I know that they busted, and I'm like, that's crazy, because I see a whole bunch of firefighters on their balcony. Their balcony is right next to mine. We're not connected, but it's right next to mine. So then eventually they come out, my neighbors, on the balcony just looking over. Like, why are you still in the building? Oh, that's a big bug. I'm glad I didn't keep that door open, because that would have been right in here with me. I think that's a wasp. I found a dead wasp in here. So I know that they broke down a door because when I was trying to see if they turned the elevator back on, because I got to put some stuff in my car, and it's big shit that I can't just carry down the steps, because I got a little wagon. Listen, things you need as an adult: a pizza cutter, an air fryer, a crock pot, a wagon. An ice cream scoop comes in handy too. A pizza cutter can cut more than just pizza. I've used it to cut broccoli before. Don't ask questions. I feel like I've used it for something else too, but I love power tools. I have two power drills. I have a saw. I have a coping saw. I have a heat gun. I took a foundations of tech class in high school. Then I took two different wood shop, like, sculpture classes in undergrad. I just love, I'm a Bob the Builder ass bitch, okay? I love it. One of my partners before, like, he liked to build stuff and I like to build stuff, so we couldn't build stuff together because he would want to do everything and I would want to do everything, and we would both just get frustrated. And so luckily, one of my partners now does not like to build stuff. It was funny because when I got this new coffee table, it had came while I was at work. So I had came home to like unbox, like, well, I came home to bring it in, and then I was like, well, I'm here on my breaky break, let me just go ahead and like put it together, because I was so fucking excited. So I put it together, and then he came over later that night and was like, oh, you put it together already? I was like, yeah. I was so pressed. He was like, honestly, I'm just really grateful you didn't ask me, because I was really dreading you asking me, and I was just going to have to say yes. And I was like, well, good for you that I wanted to do it all by myself. I love putting shit together. He's like, great. I'll let you know when I need shit put together. And I'm like, hell yeah. um, what was I talking about? Oh, my neighbor's door. So I had like went after I came back in. What did I do when I came back in? I really don't remember. I've been in the house for like 2 hours now. I think when I came back in, I tried to meditate and it just wasn't. I was like, this is the perfect time to reground myself, and it wasn't working. So then I went into my room, I think. And then I was kind of doom scrolling a little bit, which probably wasn't really the best thing to do. And then eventually I got up off my ass and I came out in the living room and did some more cleaning. And then I was like, well, I think I might have mentioned it already. I was going to poll, but now everything in my apartment is just everywhere. Because I wanted to take this stuff out to my car to like make some room in here. So I was like, all right, I'm not polling anytime soon. And I still want to be productive. So it's like, let me just pull out the laptop and the phone and record. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was my morning. Everybody's safe. Get renters insurance, because that's what my mama asked me. She was like, you got renters insurance, right? Why you go back in there? I was like, listen, I don't. What do you mean? Have you ever had it? I was like, the first time I lived here, I did. When I moved back, I didn't get it. So make sure you have renters insurance. I used to have Progressive. That was when I had Progressive insurance, but I don't have them anymore. I feel like I have to. Oh, it's just a yawn. I thought it was a burp. I do have an unfinished thought, which is like a doubled unfinished thought, because the past 2 episodes I brought up the undergrad experience with the teacher and the writing. And so I had said 2 episodes ago that all of the writing I had just kept getting C's on, and then it was our 2 final papers where I had finally got an A. So that first paper it had to be a minimum of 3 pages, but I ended up writing an 8-page paper comparing the difference of media portrayal, white riots versus black protests. And then that was like the whole Freddie Gray thing too. I think, did Freddie Gray happen before I wrote the paper or after I wrote the paper? I don't remember. It was definitely after Mike Brown though. Because I think that was like my opening example. So then the second paper we had, it was our final, and we got to write. It was like another impromptu. You could write about whatever you wanted to. So I decided to talk about like racial profiling. And there was like an example I had used, like, my mom used to work in retail. So I had said that, she talked about like in her training, they never explicitly said like black people, but it was the way that they described it that it was like, okay, you talking about a nigga. And then there was like another example of some guy who had like it was a black guy who lived in the neighborhood, and I think either somebody asked him to shovel or he was just doing a neighbor a favor, and then somebody came up and shot him to death, because it was like, what is this nigger doing here? And it's like, he actually lives here. He's a member of the community. And so the whole reason why I had brought it all up was because I thought it was like funny. That second paper that I got the A on, she wrote a comment. It was Like, your last two papers have been so good. I think you finally found your passion. Like, yeah, writing about black people problems is my fucking passion. Cause it's a fucking experience, bitch. So that was just my unfinished thought on that. And then unfinished thought too. So Unprisoned, I still haven't finished. I have four more episodes of season 2 left, but it's so interesting. So it talks about, I was talking about like the criminal justice system a little bit over the past couple of weeks, and like that, how it is set up for people to fail, because when they get out, nobody wants to hire a felon or somebody with a record. Like, it's really hard, and so they're less likely to get certain jobs, which then makes them get back into the cycle of fast money, selling drugs, or maybe even whatever else it was that they were doing. So it's just like literally a vicious cycle, and then depending on like how much damage was done, maybe they don't have family to stay with. So that was like the opening premise of like season 1, was the dad got out, and she was like, why did my phone just do that? I don't know why I did that, but okay. That the opening episode, the dad had got out, but you know, they have an estranged relationship, so she didn't want nothing to do with that nigga. So the halfway house was like, you know, he has a better chance if he stays with family. And she was like, he can't stay with me. So then he went to go like stay with one of his friends who be selling drugs and shit. But then eventually, you know, she lets him live with him. And that man was really trying to get his life together. He really was. But it was just all these other obstacles. And it's so interesting watching this show. I be balling like shit. I think I told y'all that. I be balling like a motherfucker. But it's interesting because Kerry Washington's character is a therapist, obviously has daddy issues. And I'm in school to be a therapist. And I'm working through my daddy issues. So I just be watching it like, why are you attacking me? And then my partner be like, you really over there crying? Yes, I'm really fucking crying, because it was like the writers got put cameras in my house and be watching me and be all up in my business, and now it's on TV. The only thing I could say is like, it's certain, and I don't even know, when I try to describe it to people, I can't explain it. It's something about Kerry Washington's character, and one of my friends was like, oh, because she's an annoying actress. I don't think she's an annoying actress. I don't think it has to do with her. It's like something that's built into the character of like, there's these awkward moments where she will like cringily over explain some of the things that are going on, and it's like part of, I guess, part of her therapy brain explaining like different traumas and stuff. I don't really know. I don't know how to describe it. So if you decide to watch it, maybe you'll understand what I mean, but it's cringy. I don't know. But it'll be awkward moments where it'll be like a little cringe, and then it'll like sort itself out and it's not as cringy anymore. So there's that. I don't really have much to talk about this week. I did write down, I wanted to talk about like guilt versus shame. So I'll talk a little bit about that, but I did want to go more in depth. But like, cause I had mentioned it. I don't know if it was last week or the week before that. Oh, excuse me. But guilt versus shame is like, guilt is a feeling of like, I did this or this happened, so now I feel guilty. Whereas shame is like a perception of yourself. And please send stories, question stories, topics, and corrections to two scribbles and one poll. But yes, like guilt is associated with like some action. Typically, I feel guilty because I did this, or I feel guilty because this happened, whether or not you had a direct hand in it, right? Because sometimes we feel guilty for things that really we didn't, like, we had no control over. We were just associated to something. Or sometimes we feel guilty because we actually did or did not do something. Whereas shame becomes like you start perceiving yourself for this. So because this happened, I am, and you kind of start to degrade yourself and your character because of what it is. So it's more internalized feeling. That's my tidbit on that. What's this? Boo, 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 boo. Where's Instagram? Uh, I'm gonna do a quick story time. Let me go get this card. I'm gonna have a couple random episodes sprinkled in here. I have a couple of games that I have, and I was just like, I want things to talk about. Excuse me. So I like pulled some of the cards out. And so I'll just read a couple of those. So before I get into the Ask Mango questions, because I'm gonna just try to go up to an hour. Before I get to some of the Ask Mango questions, I'm gonna go grab a couple of cards and give y'all some stories. All right. So I already pulled some out because I went through them and I was like, oh, these are cool. So I'm going to shuffle them and see. But this game is for the girls, an adult party game. Perfect for bachelorette. Oh my God. Bachelorette parties, girls' night in, girls' night out, birthday parties, sororities, pre-games, reunions, and more. So the way you play this game is 5 different decks. There's a purple deck, a green deck, orange deck, like a turquoise deck, and a pink deck. And there's a die. So you roll the die, and the die has like a color, and I think one side is black, so that means like you could choose whatever you want to, and then it has a direction on what to do. So like there's a dare, there's 2 give this card to, there's like 1 for categories, and then there's 1 that's like keep this card if. So when I went through the deck, I was like, the only one that makes sense for me to do solo to give y'all story time is keep this card if. So I pulled out a couple that I was like, oh, I actually have a story for that. So let's see. I did a really bad job of shuffling that. Keep this card if you've ever been backstage at a concert. So I met Smino. Listen. Oh, speaking of Smee, I'm actually very upset because he finally put Noir on fucking vinyl and I missed the drop, so it's sold out. I'm like, oh my God. And I see that I have listeners in St. Louis, okay? And so I like to tell myself that that's you, Smee. I know you out there. I know you listening to me. What's up, boo? How you doing? Send me a special copy, please. I love you. Thank you. That's my baby Zaddy for real. I know he got a girlfriend, but like, you know, I'm just a home girl. I just want to be friends for real. I think you cute, but I can control myself. I just want to be friends. But yes, I did meet Smino. What are we in? 2024. So I met him last year in 2023 when he was on the Love for Rent tour. With JID, and I got me a little meet and greet package. I had actually, cause ever since I told y'all, since my car accidents, I'm just like, if it happened, I see it, and I could pull the funds together to do it, I'm gonna do it because y'all, I could have burnt down. Like anything could happen. Anything could happen. You never know. So it's like, you know. and trying to also move out of the anxious mindset. Now again, it's not like I'm trying to be out here doing incredibly irresponsible things. Like, I do have a sense and kind of stop and think, but with certain experiences, I'm like, okay, this is definitely, like, this is doable. I'm gonna just put it into the universe and let it come back to me and figure out the rest later. So anyway, but at this time, like, I definitely could handle the Smino thing. That's neither here nor there. So I saw that he was going on tour, and I saw they had a little meet and greet package. So I sure enough, I think that particular day I ended up getting a reimbursement check from, because I took a couple of courses when I did. Because okay, so I was supposed to start my program and then deferred it, but I still wanted to kind of I still wanted to go to school because I love learning. So what I ended up doing briefly was I took some courses at community college. I took a cybersecurity class and a web design class, because if you grew up in MySpace, let me tell you something. One thing I was gonna do is have them custom backgrounds, baby. I did not play. I would be so pressed because at first it was like, the song had to match the background. So at one time, like, Kealicious came from Fergalicious, okay? Fergalicious definition make them boys go loco. They always coming. So I had Fergalicious as my song, my title, and oh no. I don't have it out, but there's this picture of me. It was like a school a school picture of me. What grade was that? I want to say that might have been. I feel like that might have been fourth grade. And so I had that as my profile picture. It was like in this little red and white schoolgirl dress. Fergalicious is my song, and Fergalicious is my background, and my username was Kealicious96. Then at one point, I remember I had Chris Brown Poppin' as my background and my song. Then eventually, we started moving into like the DIY backgrounds or DIY pages where you could do like the coding and stuff. So I was like coding that shit, and I used to do me and Dixie's pages. I used to go when people were like, "Oh my god, I saw your profile. Who did it?" I would lie like shit and be like, "Oh, my cousin did it," because I didn't want to do it for nobody else. um so it was like fun when I did that. So my my thought process was like, oh, well, while I'm waiting to start my program, let me take these classes just to see. And also, I had thought about, like, Google had these programs where you could get a certificate to be like a UX, like a user design, or a project manager, or it was like two other things. So I think it might have cost like $300 or something to do that, but then you get certified and you could like work for Google and other places. And I was like, well, let me see if this is something I'm actually interested in. Um Before I go that route, because in my head I was like, if I am interested in it and I do well in it, then I'll go ahead with the Google certification program, and that'll be my work from home job while I'm in grad school. So that was a thought process, right? And I was like interested in the class and I did well. It was all online. I passed both classes, which I honestly, because towards the end of the semester, I just started saying fuck it. Like, I don't care to do this. So I was surprised that I ended up passing, but I think I got a B in both classes with like minimal effort. Um, so it's something that I'm interested in and I would do well at, but I just be like, I don't think that's what I really want to do. So how did I get there? Oh, that's why I was telling that story, because I had got my refund check, and then that's when he announced the tour the next day. So I bought the tickets for myself. And how I got there was that I'm just living life. So when I see it, I want it. I jumped on it. So I think that happened in like September or October or some shit. And then I saw him in February. And so my coworker, one of my coworkers when I was at the winery, we just so happened to be talking, and it came up that we both are Smee fans, and she was like, she's going to the concert. I was like, bitch, me too. So we ended up just like being together, and we both got the meet and greet package, and I was like, oh my god, I have it on video. Luckily, one of the people we met in line had like recorded us speaking. So I was like, oh my god. So I have a video of us talking, so it's real. And then who at the girl who I handed my phone to take the fucking picture. I don't know why in my head I didn't think to take a selfie with him. So Smee, if you're watching and listening, which I know you are, the next time we link, let's take a selfie. So I can put it on a t-shirt. But yeah, the girl that I handed my phone to took the most horrendous pictures. Like, I never posted those pictures because they look so bad. I was so pissed off. We both just look awkward as hell. And maybe that's just like, maybe that is the, do y'all hear that? Y'all get that baby a bottle, or change the diaper, or give him a hug, or give him that toy back, or let him play outside for 5 more minutes, interrupting my recording. Um, yeah, I lost my train of thought. And then now that I think about it, I don't really know if this constitutes as backstage, because technically we weren't behind the stage. It was like the meet and greet before. But I'm also really excited because I have another meet and greet with a different artist. I would love Jesse Reyes. I know you're listening to this too. Um, Girl, we need to meet. Like, what's up? And Masego, you too. I'm pissed because when I went to go see Masego last year in April, it was the anniversary of Pink Polo. And so I have this pink quarter zip. Now, it was the closest thing that I had to a pink polo. So I wore that, and I made a sign that said, this is the closest thing I had to a pink polo. Happy anniversary. And then bitches made me throw it out when I was walking into the building. I was so fucking pissed because I was literally right in front of stage. Right in front of the stage. I didn't get to meet Masego, but he had his opener, which was OG, the real OG, on Instagram, and she's really nice. And so I got to meet her after the show because she was at the front signing merch. So I bought one of her shirts and she signed it. And I was really happy to see her on tour with Masego because the first time I saw her, she opened for Snow when I saw Snow. So yeah. So yes, I've technically been backstage at a concert. Before I pull, I'm probably gonna pull two more. Um, Before I pull that, y'all, make sure you head on over to Balesa and use code BB Bustin' Nuts for 30% off your next nut. Okay? Cause I've been in here busting them. All right, don't let me bust these nuts by myself. Go on and bust these nuts with me. It's just a collective nut bust. Okay? BB Bustin' Nuts. And then when you're done with that, or even before you start that, head on over to patreon.com/ two scrippers one pole, where you can find behind the scenes pole play, toy talk, tales of sensual findom, and bonus minisodes, as well as original season 1 episodes. Okay, what's better than that? What is better than that? Okay. And on Patreon, you think you get shenanigans here, you get shenanigans times 2 over there. All right, it's very unfiltered and unhectic over there. So like, go do that. Anyway, what's the next card? Pull this card if you've ever thrown up at work or school. So I don't know if I ever I don't know if I ever told y'all about the time that I almost got expelled. So, my junior year of high school, I was in a relationship and we had just broken up. So I was just like, oh, new girl on the block. Like, I'm fresh outside. Fuck these niggas, right? And so we had 2 parties or 2 dances a year. We had homecoming and then we had spring fling. So this was spring fling. And I had it was like a bunch of us met up, and cheerleaders, because this was the cheer group, but I wasn't cheering no more, but I was still friends with the cheerleaders because I've been cheering with them for years. And I was just like, I don't even want to worry about that nigga. I want to have a good time. Da 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 da. So we met up in one girl's house, and then this other girl came to get us to take her to her house. So when we got to her house, we started drinking, and y'all, we had motherfucking Pinnacle. I think it was like the whipped cream Pinnacle too. And then my other friend, because I didn't know that she was going to have liquor. So one of my other friends, he had some shit. This was like back when, we used to steal our parents' liquor and shit. So he pulled up on me and gave me this water bottle. And it was like, I feel like it was Grand Marnier. I want to say it was grape juice and Grand Marnier, but I could entirely be making that up. But it was definitely Grand Marnier. So had that, and then had the Pinnacle. Already a disaster. So we're all just like drinking it. None of us drink for real. I don't know why we decided to drink. Well, I knew my reasons. I don't know why anybody else decided to, but I guess we thought we was bad girls or something. So everybody's getting ready to leave. And the girl whose house it is like, we can't leave this here. And so for whatever reason, I decided that I was going to take one for the team and finish everybody's drinks. I don't know why. And so then I'm like, all right. Like, luckily, she lived in walking distance of the school. So I was like, all right, let's go. Like, I'm trying to get in before it hit me. And so me and one of my other friends, I think everybody else kind of just walked behind us, but me and my other friend, she was like, let's get in there, bitch. So we book it over to the school. We get in. Everything's great, right? We're having a great time. At some point, they were playing go-go, and y'all, I started a chop trade. This was like, how old was I? Oh my God, if this is junior year, I had to be like 16, 17. I think I was 16. I was 16. Yeah. So it was like they formed a group, and I had my little skirt on. I wonder whatever happened to that skirt. That was a skirt my mama gave me. I love wearing my mom's hand-me-down. I love wearing hand-me-down clothes, period. Like, when my sister gave me clothes, my mom gave me clothes, one of my cohort members gave me clothes. My other sister was like, she's like, you want to come over? I got some clothes, and I know she got some real nice clothes. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going shopping in your closet. She was like, what size you wear? I said, I don't know, I be fluctuating. She was like, well, come on over. I got a whole bunch of stuff I don't wear. Girl, you ain't gotta tell me twice. I'm gonna be right there with my reusable shopping bag. Okay, fuck a bag. I'm gonna just bring the wagon because I'm coming out toted. Anyway, so I had my little skirt. I was picking it up, and I was chopping around that circle. I was fucking it up. I was so lit, right? So I go to sit down, and Molly come over. Shout out Molly. Molly is Molly, if you listen to this, I love you, girl. Cause she really be by my side through all the shenanigans. That time I got stranded in Virginia, who came to pick me up? Who been by my side when I've been in the ER for Lord knows what? Like, Molly be there. So I'm sitting on a chair, and she come over to me like, you good, Kiki? Da, da, da. And I'm like, I'm fine. But this is one thing I take pride in, right? I know when I gotta throw up. I know. And I have a really good, like, reflex. So even if, like, and this is gross, this is really disgusting, but I refuse. So, like, I know when I'm going to throw up because my mouth start watering. So I'll excuse myself to the bathroom like I did in this instance. But if I can't go to a bathroom, like, if I'm outside, I will duck off and throw up behind a bush, come back, go to the bathroom, wash my face, wash my mouth out, and come back outside like nothing happened. Because sometimes, let's be honest, sometimes you need to throw up to recuperate and make room for more liquor. Or just even if you don't make room for more liquor, you just have to throw up to re-ground yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just need and then you're good. So, in cases where I can't just go to the bathroom or I can't go hide in a bush, like, I remember it was one time in an Uber, and apparently they charge you. Thank God I've never had it happen to me. Or I'm real quick to throw put a window down and throw up out the window because it won't be me. But it's been a few times where I haven't been able any of those options, and I've literally had to throw up in my own mouth. And then you can finish the rest of the sentence because I'm not going to say that. But like, because I refuse. I rebuke it. I refuse to be that person that's just throwing up everywhere. There was one time where I did projectile. I was at a party. And I had ran outside and I threw up all over somebody's garage door. It just came out of me. But enough about throw up. So, well, technically. So, back to Spring Fling. So, I'm like, girl, I need to throw up. Can you come with me? She's like, yeah, I got you. So, we go to the bathroom. I'm in the bathroom, head in the toilet, just bleh, right? So, I'm finally getting myself together. She's like, Kia, are you okay? So, remember, I used to cheer. Like, I'm not even going to say low-key, high-key. I was more or less like a teacher's pet. In the sense that administration and teachers always knew me because I was always involved. Like, in not really so much I would say in elementary school, but middle school, I cheered and I did the announcements. Y'all, every morning. So like everybody knew me, and then high school I cheered. So was it Miss Briscoe? I feel like it was Miss Briscoe came in and was like, why wouldn't Kia be okay? And so Molly, she was just like, she freaked out or whatever. And then Miss Briscoe was like, it's okay. Like, I got her. And so she like essentially kicked Molly out. So she comes over and she knocks on the stall and she's like, Kia, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. She's like, okay. And so she leaves out the bathroom. So I leave out the stall. I'm looking at myself in the mirror like, bitch, get it together. Get it the fuck together. So I walk out all high and mighty thinking like, I'm good. Y'all, as soon as I walk out that fucking bathroom, she's like, yeah, come with me. Bro, what the fuck? So then she hand me over to Mr. Shands. And Mr. Shands, these are both like, my high school had multiple assistant principals. So Mr. Shands was actually like the assistant principal who oversaw my grade. So he was actually my assistant principal. So she hand me over to him. He looked at me like, really, Kia? And I'm just like, what can I say? So he pulls me into the office and I'm sitting at his desk and he trying to talk to me and I'm not no snitch, okay? So he's like, what did I say? He's like, what were you drinking? I don't know. Who were you with? I don't know. He's like, so you don't know what you were drinking or who gave it to you? And I was like, well, I did at the time, but I don't know now. He's like, you really want to do this? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I refused. Nobody was going down with me, okay? So he started talking about like, oh, well, I'm gonna call your mom. I'm like, what you gonna call my mom for? Like, what she need to know? Why you being a snitch, Mr. Shands? Come on now. And he's like, either this was gonna happen, you gonna give me your mom's number to call her, or I'm calling the police. And I was like, no, like, you doing a lot, Mr. Shands. You doing a lot. Like, why can't we just be civil about this? So then he was like, you know what? I'm going to call Miss Powell. So Miss Powell was the cheerleading coach, right? So this is where I get like snippy, like, what the fuck? I ain't say what the fuck, but I'm like, what the fuck you calling her for? I'm not on the cheerleading team. Like, so that really pissed me off because like, the reason why I wasn't on the cheerleading team is a whole nother story for another day. And it was still sore because it was like, I think I was only off the cheerleading team for like a month or two at that point. So I was still very, very reactive to that. And I was upset. Like, what the hell you need to call her for? This is a problem between me and you, not Miss Powell. So he was like, she got your mama number. And I said, you right. So y'all, I said... How about this? I called my mama. And he looked at me like, I don't think, I was like, no. I'll call my mama. So he was like, okay. So mind you, I was supposed to be spending the night at the first girl's house that we were at, but clearly that wasn't happening no more. So he hands me the phone. I dial my mom's number. She pick up. She's like, "Hello," confused. I was just like, "Mom, I'm drunk." She was like, "Oh, Kia." She was like, "Where are you? Why?" Like, "What number is this?" I was like, "I'm at Spring Fling." So she was like, "I'm on the way." So what happened was, she then, I'm assuming, called the mother of the girl's house I was supposed to be at. So she lived in walking distance too. So she pulled up and she was like, "Oh no, it was no drinking at my house. This girl came and got them. So maybe they went to the liquor store." She was just telling all the tea, right? So then they call in her daughter. By the time they call in her daughter, my mom is there, her mom is there, and she just see me with my head over a fucking trash can. So Mr. Shan start asking her, like, what is going on? What happened? How did we get here? So she's assuming that all the tea has been spilled by me. So she just start. She was like, he was asking, like, who all was there? What were y'all drinking? Where did y'all get it from? And so nobody knew about where I got the Grand Marnier from. They just knew where, like, we had got everything else from. So they was like, so, let me see. Oh yeah, my phone, all my things is blowing up. Anyway, so, she's just like telling all the details because and rightfully so, I was never mad at her. I was never mad at how things played out because all I know is I didn't snitch. I didn't. And that's going to come into play. But so, she's telling, and he asked, like, what did we drink or whatever? So she said something. She got it wrong. So I looked up and I was like, we were drinking Pinnacle and Grand Marnier. He was like, he looked at me and he was like, I thought you forgot. I looked at him, then at his face, and I said, she jogged my memory. Y'all, I'm over here dying because I'm remembering it so vividly. Oh my goodness. So I think they ended up, like, at that point, my mom was like, all right, it's time for us to go. I think they started rounding up the people from, like, that was there, whatever. And my mom was like, when we were walking out, she was like, she was mad, but she couldn't help but laugh because then I was like walking and there was like, a row of trash cans in front of my school. And she said, I just put my head in the trash can and started throwing up. And she was just like, this can't be real. So I think, like, the next day I might have went to go get my stuff or something. And then I came back to school that following Monday. And I went to Mr. Shan's office, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, oh, they about to give me a little suspension, like, cool, it's right before spring break, whatever. Nah, these niggas was putting me up for expulsion. I was like, how did we get here? Because it was like, it's been multiple dances, and I think that night, somebody went home in an ambulance. Like, it was crazy. So I was like, this is quite literally my first offense ever, and y'all jumping straight to expulsion? That's crazy. And I was a good girl. I was a good girl, okay? All these other motherfuckers be doing crazy ass shit, and you give them a little slap on the wrist, they be back in school going to periods 1 through 8 every day. And it's my first offense, and you talking about something, I'm up for expulsion. So they, like, luckily, it happened right before spring break, so I had to take, in order to reverse the expulsion paperwork, I had to provide proof that I attended a drug counseling class. So I went to a drug counseling class over my spring break, and my expulsion was like annulled or whatever. But when I got back, it was like I was public enemy number 1. Like, nobody was fucking with me, bro. Nobody was fucking with me because everybody thought, like, first of all, I already looked crazy because I was a girl that threw up, and apparently it was like another person or like two other people who threw up that same night, but they didn't have the wherewithal to go into the motherfucking bathroom like I did. So they just assumed that it was me. So people was mad because people thought I threw up all over their shit. Then the whole cheerleading team was mad at me because they thought that I snitched on them. But I was like, I literally didn't snitch on anybody. Like, I literally didn't. And even if I fucking did, none of y'all bitches got in trouble. Like, I was literally the only motherfucker that got in trouble. You might have got in trouble with your parents, but you still cheering. You still at that game. You didn't get you didn't get a suspension. You didn't get ISS. You didn't get shit. At least I don't think anybody got ISS, but still, I was put up for fucking expulsion, bro. So when I came back to school, because it was like, I think it was like 3 days before spring break, and then I had, because I was suspended for 5 days, but it happened just over the spring break. So it was like 3 days. Spring break when everybody came back from spring break, it was still 2 days left of my suspension. So I came back to school just trying to say like, hey, what's up, everybody? And that was the most I'm sorry, y'all. I think it's a wasp. I think there's a wasp hive above my balcony. So, that was like the most uncomfortable, one of the most uncomfortable feelings I ever felt, because it literally, like, when I came back, it was just like all this hatred and all this animosity for me. And I was like, I literally didn't do anything. Like, I came back to school and I had 2 friends. Well, like 3, but like in terms of the cheerleaders, only 2 people. Well, really only one person was talking to me. Shout out to her. And that's my girl to this day. But you know, everybody, we made peace. But it was just like, I was really fucked up about it. Cause I was like, I really didn't do anything. Like, everybody thinks, cause you know how fucking shit spreads like wildfire. So everybody thought I was a snitching ass bitch. And I promise you, I wasn't. Like, I was not. I was gonna take all the heat for the team. And yeah. So that's my little story about how that happened. So let's go to Ask Mango. So, I gotta sneeze. So, is it coming? Is it coming? I don't know. So, archive. Okay. So, a couple of weeks ago, I was asked, what motivates you to keep going? And so I asked the person to clarify, like, are you referring to me, like my dom work, or like what exactly you're talking about? And they were talking about my dom work. So the response that I gave was, knowing that I can do anything and patience is a virtue. In the past few years, I've watched things come to fruition that I may have jokingly said, if you know, you know, or may have seriously said, but then didn't think too much about it. I know that if it comes across my path and I'm passionate enough, it'll work out. And even if it doesn't, at least I've learned something new or gained an experience. And this is like while I was in New York. So I said, I've officially been a dom for 1 year and 3 months, and I just finished my first content session with a sub. Shout out Hoodman. It's quite literally only up from here. So, you know, it's the same thing that I talk about, and I kind of mentioned this in last week's episode, that it's like, I feel like I was just talking really fast. Anyway, I'm in that weird space, right? Because like I said here, I'll say things and then they come to fruition. And beforehand, before I had this, like, I guess, hyper awareness, it was like, I wouldn't even say it was aimlessly speaking. It was just speaking. And no attachment to that outcome. Just like, this is what I want. This is going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And even in like going back to my manifestation series, it's like, I think like I spent a lot of time with those candles because of that process. So I was thinking about what I wanted in that moment while I was working with it. And then once I was finished with the piece, oh, this is a beautiful piece. And it took me a while to see how joy showed up, how abundance showed up, how creativity continues to show up, and how love is showing up in my life too. And so That, and then with the if you know, you know. So there was this person that I was just like, I'm gonna have sex with them. And what's crazy about it is that, like, it was a little far-fetched for me to say that, because the person does not live in this state. And it was just like, it was really a slim to none chance that it was gonna happen. And then I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck him. I'm gonna fuck him. And then we ended up fucking, and it was good. It was good. So, that's why like I just think it's funny, because I said that so jokingly. So jokingly. And then the opportunity just presented itself, and I was still like, yeah, I want to fuck you. So we did, right? And so when I think about, just like, it was at that moment that I realized, oh, anything I want is fucking happening, right? So yeah. And as I always, like, I answer this question all the time, just like having patience and knowing that it's gonna come when it's time. And then the second question that I had was, what's the most challenging part of being a dom? So my response was, my top answer will always be navigating time wasters. I've had a few anonymous fin subs, and I've had the session inquiries I be getting be insane. I wake up to emails that just be saying the wildest shit, right? And then when I respond, like, I'll do it, but this is the price, then they go ghost. Or they'll try to, like, keep asking questions and, like, just literally waste my time with no intention of depositing, no intention of meeting. It's just like, you sending these messages and getting these ideas in your head is what turns you on. So if you decide to go on a dom journey, be prepared. Just block time wasters. I've had the wildest session inquiries, but they're always either broke or trying to top from the bottom, a term for subs who are really trying to play the role of the dominant by controlling the scene. Having dealt with so much of it throughout the past year, it's definitely been hard to keep motivation, but like I said, it always works out when the time is right. So, my secondary answer, I would say, has been trying to figure out my dom style. When I first started, I assumed all doms were calling people pathetic, unloved prom night dumpster babies while beating the smithereens out of people. So I came in talking and acting a little crazy, which I do still have messages from FetLife, which I will be reading. I'm going to do like just a message mail reading, as Tales of a Central Findom for one of the upcoming episodes. So if you want to hear the type of shit that I was saying, or the type of shit that's been said to me, join Patreon. And now I've realized that that's not really my style. I'm not huge on degradation or the more sadistic side of things, but I'm not opposed to it either. And being able to meet and work with other doms and subs has really helped me find my style, and which is still very much evolving. So yeah, like, I'm not really a degradation person. Like, I've had so many, I don't know why, especially the white men, they just want to be ripped to shreds. I don't understand it. And it's getting easier for me now, because I'm like, all right, I can just kind of think of a surrogate. Who am I really mad at, and who do I really want to say some shit to? That's where I can start channeling that, and then I'll pick up other things to hear what other people say. So I'm learning to let it grow on me. And what ends up being more comfortable for me with degradation, even still to the extremes that they want, what ends up happening is more so like, if a sub just really gets on my nerves. And it goes back to what I was saying a couple episodes ago, is that, like, when I start to get irritated with people, I start to lose like care of how I talk to them. And then in terms of, like, being exposed to other doms and meeting other doms, seeing their work, that's especially Goldie. Shout out Goldie, shout out Eli Daniel. They have a series, The Good Wolf, and so they had a showing, and that was the first time that I got to see, like, her doming in action. And I was like, I still see, like, her personality in it, and that was where it clicked for me of like, oh, okay. And so then talking to somebody else, there was like Tales of a Sensual Findom. When I went to New York back in April, I had a very awkward moment with a sub, right? One thing that you definitely need as a dom is you need to be quick with it. And I am quick with it. I be saying shit real quick, but I'm still learning the quick-wittedness within this industry. Because I was telling my friend, shout out Maya Luna, I was telling her what happened, and she started laughing, but she was like, oh, you could have played on that and be like, da 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 da. And I was like, I never even thought of that. So now I'm like, I might do it on purpose next time. But yeah, so being able to connect with other people that are within the industry and see those different viewpoints and kind of help me like tailor or figure out like, okay, this is what I'll do better next time, and just constantly refine myself. And then being able to do like, in terms of topping people, I've topped 1, 2, 3, majority femme. I think somewhere down the line I'll probably only service femme clients, and really I just want white wallets. That's what I want the whites to give me reparations. That findom, y'all paying for my come up, okay? Y'all paying them motherfucking reparations. Do you hear me, you little mayonnaise monster? Do you hear me, you privileged pirate? That's what I meant to say. Send me that fucking money. $ Temptress Mango, bitch. But what was I talking about? Yes. So I have some topping experience. It's been in more so like really, I don't know how to describe it, but it's been like event spaces. And then there was like the one time where I went to a Black and Kinky, and I trampled this white man. That is definitely talked about on Tales. Was it Tales of a Sensual Findom? It was Tales of a Sensual Findom. Head on over to Patreon. So I trampled. That was like my first time with a sub for real. So that was a lot of fun, but that wasn't like recorded or anything. And then I didn't have another moment with the sub until I went to New York with Hoodman, and we were kind of talking about it. And we were just talking about like he's been in the industry for years and he's worked with so many doms, so he was just kind of giving me pointers on like how long clips typically are for certain fetishes, usually like what kind of content is like you kind of want to talk more versus where it's okay to just not really talk, but ultimately it's up to the person and what they're comfortable with. And I was talking about how like for me, even, and I've talked about this before, like with even within my personal sex life, I don't really talk. It takes me a while to build up to that, to talk. Now, if my partner is a talker, then I'm more likely to start talking. But really, I'm a moaner. I'm here to get thrashed. You know what I'm saying? But now, like one of my partners, I definitely do be talking, but that's because like we're not gonna get into that. But we be having a great little time. But it took me it took us a really long time to get to that point. And sometimes even still, like, I'd rather keep my mouth shut. So for me to talk in session, it's like a build up. Now, if I know what you want to say, I'm going to throw it up in there, but leave your shoes. What shoes are you talking about? That's all I got to say. Yeah, y'all, if you need to throw up like a classy bitch. Don't be out here throwing up on people's shit and people's cars and whatever the fuck else, okay? What else did I talk about? Find your passion in writing, and if it's Black people problems, great. What else did I talk about? Find your favorite artists and go backstage. Life is short. Buy that backstage pass, okay? But hold on. Don't be doing nothing crazy, because like I told y'all, I was watching Swarm, and that bitch really paid $1,800 for standing room tickets to see the parody Beyonce. That's what y'all did. Y'all really did. That's insanity. That's it. The girl got a credit card and paid $3,600. And I know taxes and fees wasn't included in that $3,600. So you pay over $3,600 to stand? That's insane. If I'm gonna say YOLO, and pay $3,600. It's a trip out the country, all expenses paid, resort. Not no fucking concert. Max I'm dropping on a concert would be $300. I would say $300. Now, I am planning something else that I really, really, really want VIP tickets for. But what I'm not going to do is get a credit card and pay that much. And again, like even the ticket that I want is in the 4-digit realm, but it's not that much, okay? And honestly, I've seen this person before in another setting, and this is worth every penny, baby. And this is a special concert. So we just gonna keep universe. You done been hearing me. I don't know when is this episode gonna come out. This gonna come. Universe, make it happen, okay? You know how bad I want this. I'm talking to you. Yeah, y'all be safe. Make good choices.